Hello everyone, here we meet again. Before beginning, I will tell you that we have covered the introduction, asexual method of reproduction, and sexual method of reproduction, the first and the second lecture. Now we are going to beginning with the fertilization, and before fertilization some of the processes that take place which are known as pre-fertilization events. As we begin our today's lecture, I would like to tell you that based on the second lecture, you can start solving the questions given at the back, that is question number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. You should be able to do them. Now, the pre-fertilization events. This takes place before the fusion of the gametes. Fusion of the gametes means the sex cells mix or fuse with one another. Some processes have to take place before actual fertilization is to happen. Two important processes are there: making of the sex cells and transfer of the sex cells. First process is known as gametogenesis and another is the gamete transfer. Let us understand the word gametogenesis. Gametes means the sex cells and genesis means to make or to give rise to the sex cell. The sex cell can be the male sex cell or the female sex cell. Another process is the gamete transfer. Gametes, the sex cells, have to move in order to meet somewhere and fused with each other, because when they are produced by a same individual in an hermaphrodite or two different individuals, when the male and the female are different, they have to meet somewhere. So gametes, sex cells, have to be transferred from one individual to the another. Now let us begin with the first step, that is gametogenesis. Gametes are of two types, male and female. Last year we had come across the terminology haploid. Let us define again what is haploid. When the chromosome number is half, it is haploid. I will give you the example of humans, that when the number is 46, it is a diploid set. When it is n, that is half of them, 23, is a haploid number. So, the sex cells which are formed, the male and the female sex cells, the gametes, they are always half in number. They are having chromosome numbers in half. It would be always, in the case of human beings, 23 chromosomes. Now, a little bit different subtopic. What are the types of gametes on the basis of outer appearance? They would be homogametes or isogametes. Refer the diagrams on page number 10. Look at this diagram. This is an example of alga called Cladophora. Notice that both the male and the female gametes look similar. You cannot make out by outward appearance which is male and which is female. Such gametes are called iso gametes. The appearance is very similar. You cannot make out or distinguish which is the male gamete and which is the female gamete. Let us move on to the another type of gametes based on the outer appearance. Most of the organisms produce gametes that look clearly different. They are called heterogametes. Example is humans. See, the egg cell and the sperm look very different from outside. You can exactly make out that this is a male sex cell and this is the female sex cell. At this time we call it as an heterogamete. Heterogamete, the sex cells looking different from outward appearance. Male gamete is called antherozoid or a sperm, while the female gamete is called egg or ovum. Now, moving towards a smaller subtopic, sexuality of organism. What does this terminology mean? It means that you have to decide whether this organism is male or a female. How would you decide whether an organism is a male or a female? Depending upon the sex organs which are present inside the body, you can decide that this is a male or this is a female. That is the sexuality of organism. Sexuality of organism is whether it is a male or a female. Let us first consider the plants. The terminology. Please be very careful to remember it properly. We are going to use the word bisexual and monoecious. One more word, that is homothelic, is also used. So, bisexual or monoecious. Now, let us give the definition. Plants having both male and female reproductive structures on the same plant are known as bisexual or monoecious or homothelic. Usually, this word bisexual is used for the animals and monoecious is used for plants. It is a matter of convenience that usually this terminology is used for animals and this terminology is used for the plants. Now, unisexual or dioecious. Plants having male and female reproductive structures on different plants are known as unisexual or dioecious. So you can have one more terminology, that is the heterothelic. Heterothelic means the unisexual or dioecious. So remember definition, two definitions for the bisexual and monosexual and 3 words for each: homothelic, bisexual and monoecious, heterothelic, unisexual and dioecious. Now, be clear about these definitions and you will not mix them up. Now, let us examine the flower. That what is the flower containing? Now, recall the 11th standard plant anatomy where you had the stamens representing the male reproductive organ of a plant and the pistil representing the female reproductive organ. Examine the flower now. If only stamens are found in a flower, that is the male, then it is called unisexual male flower called staminate. This is when we are going to observe the flower. Now again observe the flower, and if the flower is having only female reproductive organ, which is the female reproductive organ? The pistil. If only the pistils are present, it is called a pistillate flower. So you have now defined the flowers on the basis of the stamens or the pistils present in it. So you see how we are defining different plants on the basis of the male and the female organs present in the flower. Now, in some flowering plants, both male and female flowers are present on same individual. So it is known as a monoecious. Example is the cucurbita and the coconuts. What are the cucurbita? Cucumber. The plants belonging to the cucumber, pumpkins, bottle gourd, dudhi, melons, watermelon, muskmelon, all are belonging to the cucurbita. In the cucurbita and the coconuts, it would be having both male and female flowers on the same individual, while male and female flowers are on separate plants. Dioecious, papaya and date palm are the examples. You will have to remember the examples clearly. That is very, very important. Always it is necessary that you remember the examples. Now, what are the gametes formed in stamens called? They are called as pollen grains. And what are the gametes formed in the female pistil known as ovules? Correct? Let us discuss about the animals. Some animals have both male and female reproductive organs in them. What are the examples? Earthworm, sponges, tapeworm. They are called hermaphrodite. Now, this is normal in them that both male and female sex organs are found in one and the same individual, and that time it is very, very normal for them to be like this. Some animals have male and female reproductive organs in different individuals. For example, the cockroach. For this, you have been given diagrams in your textbook. See the earthworm, the testes and the ovaries in the same individual. So it is an hermaphrodite animal having both the male and the female sex organs in one individual. While in the cockroach, you will have the male and the female individuals are separate. This is clearly a male cockroach and this is a female cockroach. See, 4 outward outgrowths at the back here. Now similarly for the plants, see, this is an example of chara. This chara is having oogonium, female sex organ, and antheridium, the male sex organ, on one and the same plant. But here we are having an example of Markensia, wherein the female is on a different individual, Archigoniophore on one individual, and the male Antheridiophore on a different individual. male and female are separate. This may happen in plant. Male and female are in one. This is in the plant. In an animal, male and female together or male and female in separate individual. Now see one more variety in which this is a plant, the flower having the stamen and the carpel, male and female together in one flower. So this is a bisexual flower. These diagrams are on page number 12 of your textbook. Now, the topic is changing, that is the cell division during gamete formation. Last year we had the chapter of cell division, mitosis and meiosis. You remember, mitosis was taking place in general body organ, all the organs, and meiosis is taking place only in the sex organ, that is testes in the humans and ovaries in the female. Now, gametes are of two types, male and female. Gametes are haploid. We have defined it. Try to recall. That is, they have half the number of chromosomes. Half the number of chromosome, that is n. And if it is 2n, it would be diploid. Here it is half the number, that is the n. The parent body may be haploid or diploid. So, gametes, this is a very, very important point, that gametes are always haploid, that is, they will always have the number of chromosomes half, that is haploid. A haploid parent produces gametes by mitotic division, because see, if the parent is having originally this set of chromosome, then the daughter cells that are produced, then this process must be with the method of mitosis, because chromosome number is going to be maintained in this. When this type of mitosis will take place? When the parent is haploid, it has to produce haploid daughter cells. Division will be mitotic cell division. Now, if it means that meiosis never occurs in organisms that are haploid, because meiosis is a reduction division. Remember the life cycle flow chart of algae in the beginning chapters of the botany in 11th standard? A diploid parent is having a 2n number of chromosome set. So, the type of cell division that is going to take place is meiosis, because the cell division is going to make the chromosome numbers in half. Parent is 2n. Chromosomes are becoming half. N is a half of this 2n, n. So, the daughter cells are produced. So, if the parent is diploid, type of cell division occurring is meiosis. In previous one it was mitosis. Now, organisms belonging to Monera, fungi, algae, bryophytes have haploid plant body. So these are the examples. Once we have seen the definition and the method, we are having the examples. So students, do remember the examples each time. While pteridophytes, gymnosperm and most of the animals and human beings have diploid parent body. Diploid means the chromosome number is 2n. So they have meiosis type of cell division to produce the haploid gametes. Now, in diploid organisms, sex organs have myocytes. What is a myocyte? Gamete mother cell. They undergo meiosis. So at the end, they produce gametes having half the number of chromosomes, that is haploid. Study the table on page number 13 and some of the blanks are given over there. See this. Here, first one is of the human being. This first column is of 2n, that is a diploid. Next column is of n, that is chromosome number is half. So 46 2n, 23 will be the n. Similarly, here it is given the house fly. Myocyte 2n is 12. So n would be half of it. So it is 6. Likewise, you have to fill the whole table. Rat dash is given and n number is 21. So n is half. So double it, it becomes 42. Dog has diploid set of 78. So half it and you will get 39. Likewise, fill up the whole table. And it would be better if you try to remember this table. You never know if it would be asked in the MCQs. So it is better to get it done. When you have studied this table, you come to some conclusion. What is the conclusion? You will see that there is a relationship between number of chromosomes of myocytes and the gametes. The number of chromosomes in gametes is half than that of myocytes, because in gametes it is n and in myocytes it is 2n. Study the table carefully please and you will understand this. So here we have completed one subtopic, that how are gametes produced. Now the second subtopic is how is the gamete transferred, how is the sex cell transferred. That is, when it is produced in one individual, another sex cell is produced in another individual, they have to meet somewhere. How it will meet? Now, sex cells or the gametes are made in the parent body. Sperms are produced in the male body and eggs are produced in the female body. Now for fusion or fertilization, male and female sex cells have to be brought near each other physically. They have to come somewhere in order to meet. There has to be some medium of transportation. They have to move. So, how are the gametes or the sex cells going to meet? So, nature has made some provision for that also, that they can move from one place to another or through some medium. Usually, in majority of organisms, male gamete is motile, that is, it can move, while female gamete is stationary. It is in one place where it is produced, where it can move. Sometimes, both the male and female can move. So, in few of the algae and fungi, both male and female gamete, the sex cells can move. So, for a moving gametes, they will meet somewhere in the liquid medium and fuse. And the fertilized zygote will fall off somewhere and start germinating again. Now, for a moving male gamete or the sex cells, there has to be a medium in which they can swim or move. In plants belonging to algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, you have to remember last year's classification of plants, that these bryophytes are the amphibians of plant kingdom. They had arrived on land, you remember, but still they were submerged in water. Pteridophytes, they had arrived on land, but still they were loving the shade. They would be found in places which are shady, which had the shadow of huge trees. They were shade loving. So the gametes produced by them move through water. This movement of male sex gamete is called gamete transfer. Now when the gamete is going to move like this, it is going to pose several problems also. When the male gametes are swimming or moving anywhere in the medium, so every time they do not reach the female gamete, they are not successful in finding a female gamete. They may fail to reach and find a female gamete and they are wasted. So you know what nature has done? Male gametes are produced several thousand times more than female sex cell. You would understand if I give you the example of human beings, that a female would be releasing an ovum one each month, so only 12 eggs in a whole year, while the male human female would produce millions of sperms each day. So now can you understand this point, that why male sex cells are produced in a very large number? Because they are wasted. They are not successful in finding a female gamete each time. Even if they are released successfully, they would not be able to fertilize the female gamete. So the first and the foremost point is, lot of male gametes do not reach the female gamete, and hence the quantity of the male gametes that are produced is very, very large. Now, in seed bearing plants, pollen grains have male gametes and ovule has eggs. Pollen grains are produced in anther. Recall the plant anatomy and the anthers in which pollen grains are produced. The pollens produced from one anther, they have to be transferred to the stigma so that fertilization can take place. This we will study in the next chapter, that how pollens produced in one flower from one plant or the same plant is coming to land on the stigma. Can you guess how the pollen grains would be transferred? They can be transferred through the air, water, or the insect, the birds. They are going to help to transfer the pollens from one plant to the another. In bisexual plants, both male and female reproductive structures are on the same plant. These are self-fertilizing plants. For example, peas, vatana. Here, anthers and stigma are located close to each other, so pollens are transferred to stigma easily. But what when male and female flowers are found in different plants, that is the dioecious? What is going to happen in them? At this time, there has to be a process of taking pollen from one plant to another plant stigma. This is the pollen grain fallen on the stigma, pollen tube that is formed. When the pollen lands on stigma, it germinates forming a pollen tube. It reaches the ovule. Male gamete is released near this. It enters and fertilizes. In dioecious animals, gamete sex cells are produced in different individuals. Hence, they have to develop a method so that male and female sex cells can come together for fertilization. So what we have seen today is the pre-fertilization events. So before fertilization would take place, what are the things that are taking place? The happenings, that is male sex cell produce in the male, female sex cell produce in the female, and the next topic would be fertilization, how fertilization takes place. I would like you to complete the questions simultaneously up to question number 11 that I had given you, and you would post me the doubts which would arise to you, and I would clarify the doubts to you, and practice solving the table that is given on the page number 13, and it is advisable that you complete the questions up to 11 and make them perfect. So if you are regular in your work, only 11 questions to be done at present. So what would happen is, as time goes by, more things would accumulate and more things are pending for you to learn. So complete making the questions up to question number 11, make the answers, go through them, make them perfect so that you can write whether it is asked for